Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom Podcast. And I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. I'm really excited to bring Ryan Cote onto the show. And as you know, I talk about four different types of freedom: time, financial, location, health freedom. And in that light, I'm always scouring the globe looking for entrepreneurs, influencers, creating change in the world. So today, Ryan Cote is the owner of Morning Upgrade, and it's a business dedicated to increasing the awareness of personal development through media such as blog, podcast, book, and he's also got morning routine cards. So really interesting conversation about personal growth strategy, content marketing, building a personal brand. And I'm really excited to welcome Ryan to the show. Welcome.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Let's do it.
We had connected through Podmatch, and like I said,
Yeah.
I'm always interviewing guests that I find interesting and creating stories around conversation. So tell us your backstory, how you got started, and what you do.
Yeah, so I'll give you a personal note. I live in New Jersey. I've lived here my whole life except for college. I'm married for 16 years and I have three daughters, 12, 10, and 8. At this point, with all the sports they play, I just, it's a 7-day week thing, morning to night. But I know one day I'm going to miss it. So the chaos is sometimes you got to appreciate the chaos. So that's, personal note. Yep. I like martial arts. I like to read, write, all that kind of stuff. Business front, I work with my family. We have a family marketing agency. It goes back to the mid 60s called Ballantine. We also have a roofing company that we started a couple of years ago, kind of like an experiment to see if we can do it. And that's going well. And then I've got Morning Upgrade. Morning Upgrade, it's technically a business. It's an LLC. It generates revenue, but it's really more of like a passion project. Like you said, I'm trying to raise the awareness of. I'm personally interested in personal development, and I had the idea during COVID when the world stopped, I should try to create something like I can use as a tool for myself, but that it might be something that others might find helpful as well. And so it's kind of has like both of those dynamics, and that's what I do.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how out of chaos comes creation and adding value and service. So you have five different ideas. You have digital marketing, personal development, morning routines, entrepreneurship, and family business. So one thing is talking about we'll talk about how your ideas and philosophy around investing in yourself and
Yes.
starting morning routines.
Yeah, that to me, I'm a huge believer in investing in yourself, and I'm not the only one that says that. It's like a big thing, but investing in yourself is the best investment you can make. I'm like really bought into that because like logically, if you think about it logically, it makes sense. Like we have the most control with ourselves, and if we can make ourselves the best version of ourselves, or whatever that looks like, you would show up differently to your work, to the people around you, to how you approach life. And that's what I found to be true. I feel like this is going to be an ongoing project. I'm even trying new things. Like I'll be vulnerable. I started therapy 3 weeks ago, just because I want to see what it was like. I want to see what it was like to have a professional to talk to, and I don't have any reservations in sharing that. And so I'm always looking for new things. The books that I read, the content I consume, the shows I watch, the exercises I try. Like I mentioned, martial arts. I started doing Krav Maga because it felt like that was very scary to me, and I thought, let's try that. And so I just like, what I find, and it might be helpful for your audience, is that once you start going down this rabbit hole of morning routines and personal growth, your antenna is up looking for other things you can try, and just experiment with. And I think it's a really fun game. So it starts with the morning routine for me. That's where it started with, and then it's kind of just spiraled out of control with other things to try.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite morning routines to share with the audience? Maybe they could try it out and see how it makes them feel and perform and get through the day.
Yeah, I'll give you so I started out with doing the Miracle Morning, which is the 800-pound gorilla in the morning routine space. That's really what started for a lot of people, including myself. So at that point, when I started morning routines back 6 years ago, I followed his routine. But what I found is I like experimenting with routines. I don't do his routine anymore. I like to just play around with what feels right to me. And I feel like in different areas or different seasons of your life, you need different things. And so like right now I'm experimenting with doing journaling. Like I've got, or on video, like I got my little journal here. You can't see it with the, and I journal every morning. That's very therapeutic. I'm a big believer in meditation, gratitude practice. And these are all things you hear a lot about, but I promise you, if you try them and you're consistent with it, it will change you. Like the gratitude practice, like right when I first wake up, I start to think about what I'm grateful for. And I've created a habit out of it. Now I remember when my eyes open up in the morning, I start thinking about, just like a stream of consciousness, what I'm grateful for. And I find it's a great way to start the day before you get out of bed. Exercise, of course, that's a big one. With my podcast, Morning Upgrade podcast, I ask everyone what their morning routine is. So I'm 130 something episodes in. So I get to hear a lot of routines. And they're all kind of different. But if I pull from, the common things, it's the gratitude practice, it's exercise, it's journaling, it's meditation, it's time outside, going for a walk, making smoothies. I'm trying to think what are the ones that pop into my head. There's like ice baths, which, is pretty intense, like literally jumping into a bathtub full of ice, which I do not do. I've taken cold showers, but I don't have a bathtub that I use for that. There's like red light therapy that people do, like it's called grounding, going outside with just your shoes off and your feet to the ground. There's different ways, but the common things are the ones that I mentioned.
Yeah. And I love that. It's just basically just putting yourself in a state, kind of to get yourself prepared. Like, athletes have routines. And so it's important for entrepreneurs, business owners. I love that. And my favorite one is 6-minute sprint full speed and then ice cold shower. Those like that really
is that what you do?
Yeah, that's what I do. I can't do it if I do it in the morning, it's okay, but later in the day I don't have the energy. So it's like I have to, get it done that right when I wake up. So but
wait, a 6-minute sprint? What do you mean by that? Like literally running for 6 minutes fast?
Yeah, 6 minutes, and then running for like a 6-7 minute mile pace. Basically, after that, just a super cold shower, and it really it's very invigorating. So, you should try it.
I'll have to have you on my show. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And so you talk about that, and then we'll move on to like personal growth strategies. And so, or do you like books? Do you like podcasts? Do you like digital courses? YouTube? Tell us more.
Yeah. So what I do, I forgot to reading too. I like to read. I'm always reading multiple books. I listen to them on my phone. Okay, few things. I do a book club at Ballantine. I run a book club. Not everyone joins, but a handful do. And we'll read personal growth books. So right now we're binging on this author called Andy Andrews. He writes fables around personal growth, and we're reading a series called The Noticer. And so I always have that going on. And then an Audible, like when I'm driving or when I'm shoveling the snow here in New Jersey, or I'm doing the dishes or doing the laundry or whatever, I'll listen to Audible. So I get a couple books a month. And so right now I'm reading a business book, and then I'm reading an autobiography, listening. What else do I do? Audible. I have some podcasts. I listen to mine, to be honest with you, not because I'm like a narcissist. I like to listen to it just to like get feedback for myself. Like, oh, I need to sound more energetic, or I need to do this. So I use it more as like a self-improvement thing, not because I want to hear myself talk. I like to end my podcast as well. That one's one I usually listen to. What else do I do? I'll invest in courses as well. It's mostly books and Audible and select podcasts. But I'll do courses as well if I find one that really on Skillshare or whatever that I find interesting. And the last thing I do is masterminds. I think that's like a really good personal growth strategy. It is content, like usually we're consuming content together. Mm-hmm. But that I think we could talk about if your audience is not familiar with masterminds. I think that's a biggie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You'll talk. I love and masterminds is kind of like that's like your community, and then coaching, like private coaching, personal coaching. Yeah. What are your thoughts on pushing through challenges in your comfort zone? How it correlates to business and your family and your personal life?
I look at that as like going to the gym. Like you don't go to the gym and get stronger if you're going easy all the time. You have to like tear down the muscles and keep on increasing the weight and resistance. And that goes with cardio as well, like you do with your sprints. And it's the same thing with like your mindset and like your overall callous towards challenges. I used to be one that was very resistant to that. I kind of wanted things just to be smooth sailing. And then as we did more stuff with like real estate and the businesses and all these things started coming up, that was like, whoa. I realized, and not me realized, just from the content I was consuming and the people I was listening to, that challenges are just the way it is. Like it's going to happen if you're out there doing more stuff. Like you can have a life full of no challenges, but then you're probably not trying much stuff, and that poses problems itself. And so I've tried to get used to just expecting challenges and just deal with them. And I think about all the things with like mold in our real estate investment properties, things in work, like team issues, client issues, family issues. Nothing's ever perfect in family too, right? And so I've conditioned myself to look at them as like working out towards your mindset, because you get through it, nothing's going to take you down. You're going to get through it. You're going to figure it out. And then it's just social proof to yourself that you got through those challenges, and you'll get through the next one. And so it takes time though. Like for me, it took a few reps of that to like really understand that and be okay with it. And now when we're going through something, it just doesn't faze me as much. And maybe the meditation's there too, or maybe it's just I'm 44 now. And so I've had my fair share of challenges I have to get through, and I've gotten through them. And so, the next one is probably not going to be no different. And so it's taking me time to get there for sure.
Yeah, I love that. We'll switch now. We talked about morning routines and optimizing yourself, and now we'll move into entrepreneurship, business. And you promote a lot of these personal development through blogs, podcast, book, and is at the core of it. Part of it's search engine optimization. Tell us, what are some tips for SEO?
Okay, I can definitely talk about SEO. That's what. So for Ballantyne, we have the business as a digital agency, is digital, and so SEO is a big part of it. I'll say there's a lot of things we could talk about with SEO. I'll try to give you like the low hanging fruit. So you've got your website and you have your Google Maps listing, Google Business. If you're a local business, the Google Maps is an absolute. But I almost look at your Maps listing and your website as almost equal. Now, if you sell nationwide, it's not as important, of course, but you still want to have a presence locally, and that's where that Maps listing comes in. So you have to make sure you're verified in Google Business. It's called Google Business Profile now. Okay, and so when you're looking at SEO, you want to make sure your listing is optimized, and you want to make sure your website is optimized. And I feel like I'm about to get into the weeds here, so I'm trying not to. I'm trying to like pull back a little bit. With your Maps listing, the best thing you can do is make sure it's fully filled out. And so Google gives you this product, this Maps listing, and they want you to use it. And so you would never launch a website with like no photos, no text. You would never do that. And so the listing is no different. Make sure you upload photos, make sure you fill out all your information, name, address, phone number, a description, information on your products, get reviews. Make sure you fully fill that listing out. That's like a big takeaway that anyone can do. Get your site, get your business verified on Google Business, and then fully fill out the listing. With your website, it comes down to a regular flow of new content. Okay, it's really good content. Like really pour your expertise into that content. And then another, like, I guess, low-hanging fruit would be making sure that you're going after the right keywords. Okay, and how do you know what keywords to go after? Well, there's a plethora of tools, and I can mention one. I'm not affiliated with it at all, but it's what we use at Ballantyne. We have two tools, actually. SEMrush, which stands for Search Engine Marketing. SEMrush, that's a little bit pricey, but it just gives you so much information, like too much information, in my opinion. And then there's a tool called Ubersuggest. That's a little more, it's a lower cost. I like it because it gives you like the real core stuff that you need to look at. And so both tools help you with keyword research. And so you'll pop in, like, let's say you're a functional medicine doctor in New York. You can just type in functional medicine doctor in New York, or functional medicine doctor, functional medicine physician, practitioner, whatever. And then it'll start to give you ideas, and then how many times those keywords are searched, how competitive they are. And then once you have those keywords, that list of keywords, well, then you know what content you need to create and what pages your site needs. And so there's more we could talk about, but those are like link building, for example, like getting other sites to link back to you. But those things they'll get you pretty far.
Yeah. So one question, because I know a lot of businesses they get listed on Google. When you say Google Business, is that same as Google Maps, or is that those are two different things? Or
They're technically two different things, but they're connected. So Google Business fuels Google Maps. So Google Maps is like the search engine for local searches. Google Business is like a directory. It's like your home on Google for your business. And then Google, when they're showing maps listing, it just pulls from Google Business. Also, when you're on Google Business, if you type in like your company name, like if you type in like Ballantyne Corp NJ, the whole right side will be our Google Business listing. And it's like usually the first impression that someone has of you. So we always tell our clients, like even if they're not local, you still want to have a strong listing because if a prospect is searching for you online, which they probably are, 100% they are, you want that listing, that Google Business listing on the right sidebar is likely the first impression they have of you. And so you want to make sure the photos look good, the reviews look good, it's all fully optimized, that you look like an active, growing company.
Yeah, I love that. And that's one of the best advice, because a lot of people are like on Instagram and all these, but like Google is like that's the 800-pound gorilla. That's the search. That's where everybody's going to search, and that's where everything's getting filtered from. So
Yeah.
But so it's very important, and I think people don't realize the value that you're talking about. How about maximizing content marketing? Any sort of strategy to build upon SEO and Google search?
Honestly, we're experimenting with Chat GPT right now. That's really mind blowing. Honestly, my daughter was having problems with homework, and I mean, she's in 7th grade. I don't remember math being. I used to be good at math, and I don't remember being that hard in 7th grade. But she was giving me what the answers, the things she was having problems with, and I was like, I think I need a PhD in physics to figure this out. She might as well have been asking me to like translate a Greek essay because I just could not understand. And I was like, oh wait a minute, my friendly little AI bot. So I went to it. I said, not to give her the answer, but to show her how to get the answer. And so we did a little like equation thing, and it said step 1, step 2, step. And she was like, wow, this is great. And she was able to use that to then finish the rest of her homework. And so, not answering your question, I'll go back to answering your question. So with content, it goes back to the keywords. So have an idea of what keywords you want to write about, because if you write about content that no one's searching for, it's the traffic volume is probably going to be limited because you're not, a lot of your content will get ranked in Google, but if you're not going after keywords that actually get searched, you're not going to get a lot of traffic. In that case, you're relying on mostly social media to flow the traffic to the blogs. And so it's picking the right keywords. It's writing content that's detailed and shows that you're an expert on that topic. It's making a piece of content that is very visual as well. You don't want to just have a big block of text where someone lands on it and they're like, whoa. It needs to be broken up, headlines, images, video if you've got it. Think about like when you look at your piece of content, be honest with yourself. Like, does this deserve to rank? Like if someone was searching for this topic and they landed on this blog post, does it add value to that person? Does it answer their question? And it needs to be a yes. It needs to be a heck yes, And so make sure that's, make sure you're doing a good job there. I would say the last thing is just make sure you're promoting the content, put it on social media, get links built to it. Those inbound links really help the rankings a lot, and just promote it. Get out, put it on social media. Have your team share the post on social media. Just generate a lot of activity. Take that piece of content and share it as a Google post on your Google Business profile, which is an option. You want to make sure you're just getting it out there. You want to publish it to your site and make sure that it's keyword optimized, because Google will eventually rank it. But then you need to get out there and actually like promote it and make sure people find it.
Yeah, I love that. And a lot of these things you have to basically play around with and kind of, and there's a lot of tools that you can use to do all this stuff. And, ChatGPT has been really, really great. It's kind of like, it's like the calculator for words, and it can do so much more things besides just, computation. So I encourage everybody to check that out as well.
Yeah, it's really, the tool is, and like what I'm looking at is a way it's going to strengthen my team. The tool, you can't just give it a prompt and just take the content. Like it needs, like the input determines the output. And so we still have to come up with a really strong outline, key points to hit, give the tool something really good to work with. It comes back, proofread it, optimize it for SEO, and do all our normal process. So it's just like, I look at it as just a tool to make us better, stronger, faster. And that's what I'm really excited about.
Yeah. How can people contact you, follow you, check you out, check out your website, blog, podcast, etc.?
Yeah, so the two sites I usually share on these podcast interviews is the marketing agency, which is Ballant, and then the Morning Upgrade is morningupgrade.com. On morningupgrade.com, there's all the blog posts that I publish, the podcast, which is weekly every Sunday, the book, and whatever else is coming next.
Yeah. And for all the listeners out there, let's thank Ryan for coming onto the podcast, really sharing his wealth of knowledge. Really interesting. I love talking with fellow entrepreneurs, and be sure to check him out. He's all over social, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, as well as his podcast, the Morning Upgrade podcast with Ryan Cote. And all of these resources will be in the links and show notes, and his website, morningupgrade.com. And with that, thanks so much, Ryan, for coming onto the show.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. This is a lot of fun.